Today, we are going to be taking on the challenge of Streets PMC AI within Escape from Tarkov's PVE mode, but we are going to be doing it using the full force of a SCAV, and we're going to be using the SCAV army to give us a hand. How this actually works is that if you've got above 6 fence reps, you can call over other SCAVs to give you a hand within your raids, which means that if we have above 6 fence rep, as you can see, 8.94, we are going to be able to call them over. I'm going to go through everything that you need to know, some of the routes that I'd take if you want to make some money alongside this, and of course, how you can boost up your fence rep in the first place to get the most fence rep that you possibly can from your raids in PvE. So, jumping into the first raid that we're going to do, we are going to make our way to Lexos. This is an area that PMCs will often make their way towards, and that's exactly why we want to go over that way. Now, running down this street, not a good idea. There are mines absolutely everywhere, and so you want to make your way across from where we currently are, behind the buildings, and then make your way over to Lexos that way instead. So we have made our way across to the other side of the street, directly opposite Lexos. This means we can essentially run directly over here. You can see that some people have walked into the mines, which are just directly down from where the scavs are, which is why they've blown up. Not ideal, and so we definitely don't want to do that. As you come in here, you can meet into PMCs who can be absolutely anywhere, so we want to make sure we are in full auto, and you can see there is a scav. Now the first thing that we can do is we can gesture to follow me, at least hopefully. So we can call for help, and the scavs typically will run over towards you. You can see that we have now got an army approaching towards us who are hopefully going to help us out if we do come across any PMCs. And with the recent AI changes that scavs have got, they can actually take out PMCs as well. But one thing that we still need to be very careful of is that PMCs are still in the game, and the AI system is not particularly the best in the world. And so we've met ourselves our first PMC. And of course, the only weapon that our boy actually had was not the thing that we actually wanted him to have. And so we're now down to a pistol because our mags are completely empty, which is not exactly what you want when trying to deal with the AI. But since we've called over the boys, they seem to be helping us out. And this is one of the scavs, as you can see. We can move our beanie, we can grab this out, and we can actually grab a weapon. One thing that we could do with is making sure that we do get ourselves an AFAC so we can heal up our chest, and then we can nab the grenades so that we can use those against further PMCs. Now the whole point in doing this is not to make money or anything like that. It's simply so that we can be able to essentially take out more PMCs. The more backpack space, everything like that, the better, because we're going to be able to not only grab the loot, but we're also going to be able to essentially grab out all of the gear that we might want as well. So we've got one more PMC somewhere nearby. So we got BP ammo. And there we go. Another PMC is down. So we can grab up that, and we can loot up his body as well. We can grab that and then pick up some of the rubles that this guy had. And if we wanted the body armor, we can also loot that up just so that we have a bit more survivability. And then of course he's got a black rot as well, which is also quite nice. The one thing that you need to know about the scavs is that they do tend to run over and pick up all of the stuff that you potentially want, which is, yeah, not particularly perfect in any sense of the word. They'll come and steal the loot that you might actually get within the raids if you are trying to make some loot. You can see here the scav army have started to arrive, and we've got one more PMC that we can potentially loot up. Don't know if I actually got this guy. He was actually taken out by a scav, but we'll take the dog tag anyway. And this guy has a much bigger backpack that we can essentially drop that into and then pick up the entire backpack. This is a much better way of dealing with the loot. Because once again, the scavs will steal your loot because, yeah, thank you, BSG. Either way, we can drop our stuff into here, and then we can drop out the backpack that we've actually got, provided we've got space, as you can see, like so. That means we no longer need this, and we can get rid of that, and we can drop out some of these mags and stuff into our backpack. So that we've got space in case we come into an engagement and we need to pick up stuff. Obviously, you can decide whether or not you want certain weapons. Maybe you want to take them out to improve your repair skills. And for every PMC that we actually take out within the raids that we are actually doing, we're also getting scav rep based on if they took out PMC. So you can see here, we got this guy. He was taken out by another one of the scavs, and we can loot him up as well. And what have we actually got? It might actually be me, but we'll see. Cool, so that guy's gone. We can check this guy. That's a normal scav. I believe, anyway. Or we've taken the stuff anyway. And grab up those rubles. Now, obviously, the boss can still spawn, so you want to be a little bit careful. But 90% of the time, it's absolutely fine. So there's another scav that was here with a fox mask. And we can check up the pockets of that guy as well. Now, obviously, you could loot up in Lexos if we really wanted to. We are not going to be doing that because we're after PMCs. And PMCs only really, I mean, if we can take out the loot, that's also fine. But at the end of the day, we are after the scav rep for the most part. So we are going to make our way over to the next area, which typically has some scavs and PMCs that we can do the exact same thing with. Command the scavs over. Hopefully they're going to help us out. And then we just directly run across the street. Make sure not to go left because the mines are over there. And let's make our way into this building. This is where more PMCs can be. But what I will make sure to do is reload our mags. It's some decent ammo as well, BP, which is decent for taking out more PMCs. So as you can see, I mean, we could extract if we really wanted to. I'm not particularly too fussed on extracting because it doesn't matter for getting your scav rep. It literally does not matter. I mean, if you got specific things that you needed to extract within the raid, then it's absolutely fine. There's lots of places to do that. As you can see, we've got a lot of extracts, and most of them are quite well balanced in terms of where you can get to without having to deal with more PMCs in your raids, which is obviously going to help with getting out of those raids if you really wanted to. Whilst we're packing these mags, one thing that you should always take is any of the energy drinks or anything that is going to essentially give you hydration and food, as some of these raids can be relatively long, and with the current event that we've got in the game, you can find that you are going to need food since it does give you a debuff. Now, this corridor is typically where you can find PMCs. We can loot up this dead scav that's in this corridor. I'm pretty sure it's a guaranteed spawn. And we got Lapua Magnum FMJ. This is level 4. I'm not entirely sure yet. So we can drop this one out and grab that. Now we can make our way outside of the building. Down here. Now PMCs can be in this courtyard area. But we actually want to go over this side because there can be PMCs that are over by where you can find the relaxation room key, and those look like potential PMCs. Hopefully they were, and not just scavs dressed as PMCs, which would be very bad for our scav rep. But luckily they were PMCs, but we always want to check for any more, as they can spawn into up to groups of like 30 or something like that, up to groups of like 4 or 5. And sometimes you can get multiple spawns at the exact same time, which would not be fun. We'll use the apple juice, get a bit more food and stuff. Now, we're not worried about being taken out, so we can play pretty aggressively. I mean, it's a scav, so it's just free rep if we take out more, which is exactly what we're after. We're not after extracting from raids. One thing that we can do in the meantime, however, since we're over here, is go grab the relaxation room key. We'll check for ammo, just in case we need it for one of our guns, for example. We might want to make sure that we have got some space so we can drop out some of these bits into our back. And there we go. And we can grab out this ammo. We'll double check the actual ammo. So we've got 10 in the pistol. And if we go over to the AKM, we're full. MPX, we want to double check, because in case you need to swap, you want to make sure that you have got ammo. This one has terrible ammunition, FMJ, not ideal. And unfortunately for us, this is actually a blackout, which is the MCX. So let's drop that down, swap out the MCX, and then we can pick this one back up. Just need to do a bit of rearranging, and there we go. We are good to go. We will use our PKM, and we can drop into the relaxation room, which is the ideal situation, since we can pick up the key, and then if we want to, we can go ahead and extract if we really want to. The key spawns in a couple of different locations, one right there, one on top of this drawer. There's also another one in here. You've got a spawn for the whiteboard as well, right there. And then we're checking for decorations as well. Other spawns, we've got I believe one right there, and then one on top of this little area right there. Close this door, and then we'll go through the rest of the spawns just so you guys know. The other spawn is essentially in the mask right there, and then behind the milk in that statue between the legs, you can find it, and in the mouth of this skull. And if you don't find it anywhere in all of the spawns that we go through, you'll find there's a key in the mouth of this pig, which means you can go inside of that room right there, which is, I believe, the negotiation room key, and that will always spawn if the key doesn't spawn. And you can go inside of there, the key will be in that room. We've got ourselves a PC. Sometimes you can find graphics cards literally laying around in here. The other spawn is underneath the umbrella right there. And then we can go into the kitchen area. And there's a spawn just behind these trash bags. And then there's also a spawn like underneath the pizza box on the right hand side. So like literally right there where we're looking, you'll find the other spawn of the key. That's all of them that you need to worry about. And so as long as you go in all of those, you'll be absolutely fine. Now, once we've got the key, we can make our way over to the other spot, which we can find PMCs. And that is down this road. You'll see that there's a few PMCs and scavs that have been taken out. Along the floor over here, you can see another scav that's gone. If you want to check for graphics cards, there is quite a few PCs that are in this building right here. So we can loot up all of these PCs. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4 down there. And you can find some of the high-end stims and high-end medical items, defibs and stuff on this like bench right here and on the floor. And then you've got a dead scav as well. Pretty much guaranteed spawn, the actual scav. And all of the PCs. Then we'll come out of here. And across the way... Okay, another scav. Doing some weird scav things. We've got ourselves a little med box. If you wanted to open it in that, you just open up the door. And you can go through there. we'll make our way over here. This is one of the extracts, so I don't know if we've actually got it. We haven't. It's basement descent, but it's literally right next to that basement door. We'll come up here, and then we'll open up this door, and we can go through here. There can be a duffel bag spawn, and of course another scav. And we can open this one up, and of course you can get any kind of loot out of a scav. Then I will open up this room. You got a duffel bag spawn and some ammo that you can find on the table. And then through here, we'll make our way through the kitchen. Out of this little window. And there can be PMCs down the end of the road over here. Now we are going to go to that in a second, but I want to check out one of the key spawns in this as well. So another scav over there. We've got the frostbite effect, I believe, or at least the chilling effect, which has come from the Christmas event. So if you're watching this in the future, that's why we've got this weird frozen effect on our screen. You may or may not have this when you're watching it. But what we can do is run directly over to the Klimov shopping mall, which actually is one of the extracts. I believe we probably have it. Maybe. Yes, we do. So it's the Klimov shopping mall exfil if we wanted to extract out of the raid. But we want to search up for at least another PMC group potentially. And we can hit up the relaxation room whilst we do that at the same time. So once again, it's very easy to make money on this scav route, as well as getting your scav rep leveled up. It's just how much risk to reward that you want to get. Now, when we come in here, you can look on this. This is where you find the rusted bloody key. If you get this, it's a very, very rare spawn that does spawn on this area. There's two spawns. There's one right there, literally just to the left of the hammer, and then one up in this top corner on the same board. It's like the keyboard. Not a literal keyboard, but you get my drift. It will be on there. If you want to extract out of the raid, all you do is you come up to the top floor. If you haven't got a 6 scav rep yet, this can be a bit dangerous, as Kolontai can spawn up here, which is not ideal, and it'll be aggressive if you haven't got a 6 scav rep, which is why you're going to want to grind out 6 scav reps, so that when you do play as a scav, if you want to, you can do that. Now you can see we come down the stairs and we can extract. We're not going to do that. So what we're going to do is make our way over to the relaxation room. So with the shopping mall directly over there, it's literally across the street, and we just run down this street to the end and we take a left. This is where we can meet some PMCs potentially, and hopefully within this raid. There are PMC spawns that do spawn in the Pinewood Hotel as well. But in terms of going in there, it's just a bit of a pain. They can be on the top floors and stuff like that, so it's just not ideal for us to easily find them. And we want quick raids. We want to find as many of the PMCs as quickly as possible. Now, PMCs can spawn in the courtyard area directly over there, and they can be in the financial office building, I believe that is, or financial institution office building, which you can find keys for if you're playing on a PMC, for example. But obviously you don't get the scav rep for playing on a PMC, hence the whole scav video. Now what we can do is come down over here. Now PMCs can be round this corner and down this street, so you want to be sure that you are kind of checking, and they will also potentially be down this road, as you can see over there where we were looking down a minute ago. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there are any PMCs for us to take out over here, which is feels bad. You can see a little scav. PMCs can also go inside of some of these buildings as well. So that's just a scav. When we come over here, always check up the safe. You can find some rare loot if you wanted that. And there you go, badge. We'll open up the actual room right here. We've got a lot of space on our scav that we can dump out some of the worse items. Obviously, relaxation room, you can find moonshines, bitcoins, rare loot absolutely everywhere. And of course, we can drop out this M16 if we wanted to. Now, on the floor, you'll find a duffel bag spawn potentially. It's not here in this raid. Got ourselves some vodka. And on all of the chairs, you want to be looking, because there can be bitcoins underneath the actual chairs themselves, as well as rare loot on all of the chairs. So once again, always checking up those. And drop out this battle mag. And there we go. Now we'll move into the second area. On the floor over here, you can find yourself some rare items. And there you go, a Bitcoin. Perfect. That is what we want. On all of these chairs, basically, is more rare loot spawns. So jump up on top of them and search them. You'll find yourself Bitcoins as well. You can see on this jacket, there is also potential for rare loot spawns as well. You can see that we got a lion, but it can be Bitcoins and it will be hidden underneath the coat. So always like jump up like this and then search on top of the coat for those. You'll find a duffel bag spawn directly there, which we can loot up as well. And in here, we've got nothing. Cool. We got ourselves Jack Daniel's whiskey, which is actually worth grabbing. We will dump out some of these nades since we're not going to need that many. I don't think we need one Lapua. We can use the pineapple juice to make some more space. And then it's just min-maxing your inventory to be able to have the most available space that you want. We can drop that down there and we can grab up this Jack Daniels. Once again, checking all of the chairs as well as all of the tables. The tables can have moonshine on them, which is what we want, as well as next to the chairs as well, and behind the chairs is what you're going to want to be doing at the same time. Orthodontics and a D battery. Not quite what we were after. As you can see, once again, check on all of these chairs. There can be rare loot. As you can see, another rare loot spawn right there where the cultist was. And we got another one over here with the pro kill. And we just run over the top of all of these. Check up this last duffel. And we pretty much got every single thing that we possibly can from this. We can dump out one of these and grab that. And there you go. Check up all of these chairs. Next to all of them, the chairs as well, once again. And yeah, looks like we have got absolutely everything, bar the vodka, which is actually really cheap right now. So if you're watching this in the future, that's why we didn't pick it up. Now we can run out of here, provided that we've got the extract, which is ventilation shaft, I believe, which is just directly over here on the other side of this building. If you've still got room for loot, you can come inside of this building. There's usually a duffel right there, which you can open up if you want to get more loot. I mean, for me, I don't really need it. You can see a serve kit. We won't open up all of the duffels, but on top of the tables, you can find yourself moonshines as well. So always check on those. Another duffel over there. And then in this room, more duffels. So it's basically duffel haven in here. On here, you'll find rare loot on the floor. And check on top of the tables as well. Just for anything that you might find. Kvass there. Really good place to find yourself some of the, I guess, what you would call healing items. As well as the food items. So that is kind of where you can go if you're playing on a PMC, just as a bit of advice if you're ever over this way. Fuel, definitely don't need that. And then we want to check all over here. There can be a duffel spawn right here, which we actually did get. And there's also a duffel spawn directly opposite from where we are, which is right there. And then behind the bar, we have vodka and various different moonshines that you can find on the actual place in here. So always worth checking it when you do come in here. And then, of course, the other final duffel, which we will actually check just so that you guys, just so that we don't miss out on a moonshine or something, or a graphics card. And there you go, nails. Is worth bringing out nails. They're about 70k right now, but I can't be asked. Anyway, now we can move over to the extract. And this is where the raid basically ends. No other PMCs that we can find. There can sometimes be PMCs around here, but they'll usually be above you. So just keep an eye out for that. It's very rare that they're still here at the end of the raid, but be aware that they could potentially be. In terms of this one, we are going to extract, which is basically just behind this little area over here, which is another extract that we can get out of. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Hopefully this is going to showcase how much actual scav rep that you can get as well. It does depend on if a PMC does take out scavs. The more scavs a PMC does take out, the more scav rep you get for taking out said PMC. So if a PMC takes out a lot of scavs, you get more scav rep for taking out that PMC. Similarly, if, for example, you do help out with a boss, for example, taking out a PMC that is attacking the boss. You'll also get additional rep, and yeah, that is basically what you're going to be wanting to do, which is why going to Lexos is a really good option, as there's always PMCs that tend to go in there, and that is where you're going to make the most amount of scav rep in your raids and find the PMCs the easiest, which is the first location that we did find in the raid. So hopefully it will actually load in a second. So we got 5.6 thousand XP. We took out, what's that, 6 different PMCs within the raid, all relatively low levels, unfortunately, so not going to help us out on any of the quests that we've got. But yeah, in terms of loot, pretty decent loot that we did manage to get. We can drop out all of this sort of stuff, and I'll join you back in a second. So we've unloaded all of the rare loot that we managed to get from the raid, and we can just go ahead and sell everything for 254,000 rubles, just simply for everything that we managed to get in terms of gear. So not a bad result from that. You can see the overall scav assistance that we did get from that raid was 0.19, meaning we got 0.2 of a scav rep, just simply by literally running around taking out those 6 PMCs. So pretty decent in terms of a scav rep. And in terms of what that correlates to, it's essentially like using a car extract for the very first time ever in a raid, which obviously you can only do once on every single map, and then it goes down by X amount every single time that you use the car extract. So the fact that we can do this on our scav, get loot, and also get the same amount of actual scav rep is really, really good. And often if you're just purely farming this, you're not doing any looting whatsoever, you can save yourself a lot of time doing this rather than going for those car extracts. So yeah, obviously you want to do all of the car extracts on your PMC anyway, just to get a boost to the amount of actual XP that you're getting, and completing tasks and getting the extracts at the same time to boost up your scav rep. But at the same time, doing scav raids, taking out PMCs specifically in your raids is what you wanted to do. You can see we dealt 1,248 damage, with a lot of it absorbed by armor, probably from the very beginning of the raid, where we didn't have the best ammunition and we didn't have any of the PMC guns within our raid. So that is essentially the scav experience when playing on streets, what you can do, some of the best value items that you can get in the game, and the loot locations that you can get in the game, and where you can get the relaxation room key. So overall, a very, very optimal scav setup, and you can make millions of rubles every single time that you do run streets, even if you're not going for any of those scav rep by taking out PMCs. You don't have to go to Lexos at all if you aren't particularly focused on getting your scav rep up. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it, and of course, subscribe down below if you want to see some more, and thank you very much. Goodbye.